when I understand this clear leadership, there are also some CEOs or entrepreneurs who have a need to be that kind of a leader who has the solution for everything and have the prominence, and they seem to carry this as a pride.
Mm.
And
Well, I think part of that, there's a lot of different explanations for that, right? Everything from, there are some people who like that exercise of power as a way of protecting themselves from shame, you know, all the way to the other side of that, where people are acting that way because they think that's how they're supposed to act. That's the expectations that come at them, and that does come at them, right? Like there is a way in which both people who work. So as I've been studying this stuff, I once ran into a CEO of a company. He owned this company, and he became my poster boy for too appreciative, too clear. I mean, like because what would happen is he he would never define things. He wouldn't hold people accountable. He wouldn't, and even if I'm in a very collaborative organization, there are things I want of my leader, right? I want to know what are our goals. I want to know what am I responsible for. I want to know, how do I access resources? And one of the interesting things is I also want to know that other people are being held accountable. Like, like one of the most demotivating things is if I'm working really hard and the guy next to me is, sloughing off and nothing's happening to him. Right. Right. But, and what, I'll tell you 2 stories about that. So, but what I think is with a collaborative leader, what they need to do is think of themselves as the managing partner. And what that means is it's not that they set the goals, it's that they make sure the goals get set. Right? It's not that they set the roles, it's that they make sure the roles get clarified. These sorts of things. And for a collaborative leader, that means they need to say to the rest of the partnership, okay, we need to agree on what's going to happen here, and it needs to be done by this day. And if we can't all collectively agree, then I'll make the decision. Right? And then they're operating out of a partnership modality, and it sustains a sense that we're all in this together. Right? But we still need our leaders to do those things. And so I was studying this guy who runs at the time, he's retired now, but he was running what I would call a multi-divisional social enterprise. Like what they were doing was they were creating businesses that employed large numbers of people with intellectual disabilities. And they were doing it not from a charity perspective, but because these people were creating competitive advantage. In every business they created, they were outperforming their competitors, their local competitors in their markets. And which was like amazing. I said, I gotta go see how this guy's doing that, right? And it turned out he didn't know how to do it. He was just a generative leader. He had a clear purpose, and he created these spaces where he'd hold that space of not knowing and a lot of heat and a lot of energy, and then people would come up with solutions, which sort of this tremendous adaptive challenge of how do you create a business that can employ large numbers of people with intellectual disabilities and do it in a way that's sustainable and successful as a business, not, what most typically happens in North America anyways, is these things where they create these sort of make work projects that really aren't financially viable, but the state, pays a certain amount of money to keep them running, and they're not, and usually they're run by social workers and the people in them. It's just like babysitting, really. It's kind of sad what goes on. So anyway, fantastic generative leader, amazing things going on. And in the middle of me studying him, one of his directors went to the board and said, this guy's a terrible leader, you should fire him. I was like stunned, like, what are you talking about? Apparently what the board did at that point, I said, oh, maybe we should take this seriously. So they started an inquiry. They spent 3 weeks looking into it. At the end of the 3 weeks, they said, you know what? On every measure we have, this organization is doing better than it's ever done.
Mm.
So we're going to stay with him. But we don't understand what he's doing either. know, right? Because I mean, this guy's complaint was that the CEO wasn't giving him marching orders. He wasn't telling him what to do. He wasn't resolving his dilemmas for him. He'd go to him, well, is it this or is it that? And the leader would say yes. Like, people hate that. Like, so there is this expectation that comes up from below and comes down from above that if you're the CEO, you should have the answers. Why are we paying you the big bucks? It's like, where's your KPIs? Like all that stuff. So, for a lot of people in those leadership roles, they believe that is their job, and they have a certain amount of, people that are saying that to them, and with that expectation coming at them. I think, and this is what I've been writing about, this idea of generative leadership, is that we need a new narrative of leadership that
Mm.
says there is a kind of leadership that's very important, especially in complex systems, where they
Mm.
don't have the answer, and that's not their job, is to have the answer. Right?
Mm.
Their job is to shepherd and steward processes of adaptation that
Mm.
engage the people who are going to have to act on those solutions, to be the ones who are generating the solutions, not the leader. But there's a certain percentage of people who don't like that. It's uncomfortable, right? Because now I'm responsible. I'd rather you were responsible. I'd rather you told me what to do, and then I'll do what you tell me, and then you can't fire me because I did what you told me. And it's like,
Mm.
yeah,
So, in summary, I understand once a leader has a attitude with bringing people together, having a purpose, creating a space where a combination of structure, where it is not too deviating, there is a structure like how much we are going to do and all those things, and also a possibility for bonding. So I see a good combination between these two, and
yeah,
then allowing things to emerge, things when they are not known, everything is fine there, but they are creating a structure for themselves. Like for example, not this is a goal, but this is a goal we set as
yeah,
well. Talk about what we like, what we didn't like, what we understood not. So it's like a garden where many things come together and
yeah,
flourish possible in that space.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good image.